The business summit was exactly as I expected, a suffocating mix of expensive perfume, feigned smiles, and the quiet, predatory hum of ambition. My husband, Leo, had insisted I accompany him, a strange request given his usual preference for keeping me far from his professional life. At the cocktail party that preceded the main event, his reasoning became painfully clear. While he guided his secretary, Chloe, resplendent in a designer gown, toward the main table of industry titans, he gestured for me to take a seat at a small, out of the way table with the catering staff. For a moment, I just stood there, watching the scene unfold as if it were a play. I was about to walk over and ask for an explanation, to understand the purpose of this deliberate and public humiliation, but I was intercepted. Chloe, having seated herself beside Leo, turned and gave me a look of triumphant pity. "You're just a pretty accessory, Alara. What makes you think you're qualified to sit next to Leo?" A small smile touched my lips as I turned my gaze from her to my husband. "You don't think I'm qualified, do you, Leo?" My voice was quiet, but in the small lull of conversation, it carried. The eyes of the entire table, a collection of the city's most powerful executives, turned to me. Leo, who had not anticipated being challenged, flushed with anger. His face, usually composed, twisted into a mask of fury. "Ilara, what are you doing?" he hissed. "This is a business networking event. If you want to start a fight, get out. Don't embarrass me here." I kept smiling, my gaze steady and unbothered. "You think my presence here embarrasses you?" The next second, his hand slammed down on the table, rattling the glassware. He pointed a trembling finger at my face. "That's right. I think it's shameful to be seen with you. What about it?" he yelled, his voice rising. "Nominally, you might be my wife, but in reality, there's no affection between us. To my family, you're nothing more than a stray dog we took in." He stood up fully then, leaning over the table, his words spraying a fine mist of saliva that I could feel on my cheek. I calmly took a tissue from my purse and wiped my face, my smile never wavering. "I don't understand then. If you despise me so much, why did you insist I come to this event tonight? Was it just for the opportunity to insult me like this?" It was a genuine question. He typically hid me away, worried I would tarnish his image. To bring me to such an important gathering, only to treat me this way, felt calculated. There had to be a larger plan at work. Before Leo could answer, Chloe, the ever-loyal assistant who had effectively taken my place in every aspect of his life, stood up. "You're so naive, Alara. Can't you figure out something so simple? It's because, of course." Leo cut her off sharply with a raised hand. "Chloe, let's just eat. Why are you wasting your breath on someone like her? Even if you explained it, what would change? She'd just go back to lazing around all day, doing nothing, feeling no shame." He turned his glare back to me. I knew I never should have agreed to my father's arrangement. This marriage has been nothing but bad luck. His words struck a nerve, but not in the way he intended. I, the silent partner behind his company's meteoric rise, was doing nothing? Wasn't my primary role sitting in an office, drinking coffee, much like him? When he saw my silence, he mistook it for defeat, and a smug, proud look crossed his face. "What's wrong? Hit a sore spot? Don't even have the courage to speak? You'd better learn your place, Alara. Believe it or not, I could fire you right now." A cold laugh escaped me. I stared at him, the last bit of my patience evaporating. "What do you mean? I'm redundant at the company?" I had wanted to keep things civil. This was the annual industry conference, an event the Thorne family had only just become influential enough to attend. I didn't want our private drama to become a public spectacle. But he kept pushing, relentlessly. I could ignore an insult or two, but threatening my position, a position he didn't even understand I held, was a line he couldn't cross. Did he have no idea who his family owed their success to? "You're right," he sneered. "Keeping a useless person like you in our company is a complete waste of resources." I smiled and shook my head slowly. "Leo, you can say I'm idle, but if you're trying to say I'm useless to the company, I can't agree with that. Do you really believe you got to where you are today all by yourself?" Seeing that I wasn't backing down but was instead talking back to him, he became absolutely furious. "Ilara, open your eyes and see reality. I, Leo Thorne, am the chairman of this group. The company is on the verge of going public because of me, not because of some decorative vase like you. I nodded, my expression serious. Yes, what you say is correct in a way. The Thorne family is indeed one of the city's 4 major families now, and it's because of me. As soon as the words left my mouth, the table erupted in derisive laughter. Little girl, you have an overactive imagination. The Thornes are a respected family. What are you? One of the executives chuckled. Mr. Lee is right, another chimed in. A woman who her own husband can't stand is an embarrassment to be sitting with us. I suggest you leave. Everyone here is a significant figure in the business world. We don't welcome useless people. I rubbed my ears, mentally blocking out their voices. Whether I am qualified to sit here or not is not for any of you to decide. A hush fell over the room as my words spread. Everyone stared at me, dumbfounded. The summit was attended by the top business leaders in the capital, and the Thorne family had only scraped together an invitation this year. My audacious statement quickly rippled through the venue, and soon, all attention was on me. I was surrounded by a sea of hostile, judgmental glares. Seeing this, Chloe's face was alight with malicious glee. She stood and addressed the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, let me clarify. Although this person is Leo's wife, she has been expelled from the group. Feel free to say or do what you want to her. We certainly won't stop you. I almost laughed at her declaration. Chloe, I'd advise you not to be in such a rush to distance yourself from me. I gave her a cryptic smile. Without me, it won't take 10 minutes for the Thorne group to go bankrupt. Do you believe me? Chloe slammed her hand on the table. Mary, what are you dreaming about? You're a nobody waiting for your life to be over, and you think you can bring down the company? That's a fool's dream. I nodded, my expression calm. That's how it is. If you don't believe me, you're welcome to try. She raised an eyebrow and scoffed. Just try? How can someone with no self-awareness have the nerve to put on such a show in front of me? I wasn't angered by her words, but instead looked at her with a placid expression. I'm sorry, I'm not like you. I've never had to rely on a man to get things done. My comment caused the faces of the business tycoons at the table to shift uncomfortably. Who does she think she is, acting so high and mighty? She's just a dog from the Thorne family, someone muttered. Well said. A pretty vase with the audacity to mock others. It's humiliating. None of you here are worth less than 100 million. You probably couldn't even touch a $100 bill, I said, my voice dripping with disdain. I coughed lightly and let my eyes sweep across the room. You're all mistaken. I'm not just looking down on a few of you. I'm looking down on everyone in this room. I may not know how to run a day-to-day business, but at least I know how to be a decent human being. Since I arrived, all I've heard these so-called business leaders discuss are opportunistic shortcuts, not how to grow their companies. One of you is bragging about cutting employee wages, another about evading taxes. With leaders like you, your companies are not far from going out of business. My words instantly made me the target of everyone's fury. Even the host of the event couldn't stand it any longer. Young lady, this is a business summit. People like you are not welcome here. I slowly looked up at the stage. Oh, and what kind of person am I? Can you tell me? Before the host could reply, Chloe had already rushed onto the stage and snatched the microphone from his hand. Ilara, you're a piece of... Her insult boomed through the speakers, echoing throughout the venue. The executives at my table gave her a standing ovation, looking at me with undisguised schadenfreude. Even Leo, who had been silent for a few minutes, began to applaud. Seeing this carefully orchestrated scene, I finally understood the real reason Leo had brought me here. He had miscalculated, however. This tactic of using a crowd to attack a single person wouldn't work on me. In all of America, no one was qualified to look down on me. Noticing my silence, Chloe thought I had been cowed. She raised the microphone again. Hey, Ilara, now you know why Leo doesn't want to be at the same table as you, right? She paused, a cruel grin spreading across her face. Because you don't deserve it at all. I looked at her, my expression cold and devoid of emotion. All right, I've played along with this little drama long enough. Tell me the real purpose of bringing me here tonight. Chloe stared at me with a wicked smile for a long moment before she spoke slowly. Since you figured it out, I won't pretend anymore. The truth is, Leo brought you here so you could see your own pathetic situation and stop clinging to the Thorne family with your dead-end life. I put my hands in my pockets and smiled faintly. The assistant looked me up and down with contempt. Leo is divorcing you. I froze for a few seconds, then looked back at Leo. Is she telling the truth? Are you really going to divorce me? Leo raised his eyebrows, his expression one of pure disdain. Chloe is right. I've wanted to divorce you for a long time. It was only because of my father's pressure that I've waited until now. It just so happens that all the most important people in the business world are here today to witness it. I, Leo Thorne, am divorcing you, a complete nobody. It all clicked into place. 3 years ago, when the Thorne family business was just a small, struggling company, the founder of the group, my father, had approached him stating he wanted me to marry his son. Before I could even process the request, he produced a marriage certificate. The signature on it was unmistakably my father's. I was young then and didn't understand love, but to fulfill my father's last wish, I agreed. Unexpectedly, on the day we were to register the marriage, Leo suddenly had second thoughts, saying he would only get the license but not hold a wedding. After some consideration, I agreed to his terms. Feelings, after all, needed time to grow. I never imagined that after 3 years of trying to cultivate a relationship, I would be publicly forced into a divorce. The thought of it sent a hot wave of anger through me. Leo, I'll ask you one last time. Are you sure you want to do this? Even if it means betting the company you're so proud of? Before Leo could answer, Chloe began to stir the pot again. Of course he's leaving you. With Leo's current status, he can find a woman 100, even 1,000 times better than you. I stared at her, an angry smirk on my face. Chloe, what business is this of yours? You're just Leo's assistant. Do you have the authority to make decisions for him? My question made Leo furious. Enough. Don't say another word, Alara. I can tell you for certain that I have never had any feelings for you. In the Thorne family, you are nothing but a burden, not even worth mentioning. I sighed softly, my eyes filled with a flicker of disappointment. It looks like your mind is made up then. Leo frowned, looking at me with disgust. That's right, I've never liked you. Not then, not now, and not ever. As soon as he finished, Chloe immediately started applauding, and the crowd of onlookers voiced their support for Leo's decision. I glanced around, and the corners of my mouth rose in a slight, unconscious smile. In that case, have it your way. I gave Leo a meaningful look. I hope you won't regret this decision in the future. Leo was thrilled to hear I had agreed to the divorce. Ilara, since you're willing, that's for the best. Tell me what you want. Money? A house? I'll do my best to satisfy you. I waved my hand dismissively, looking at him with cold eyes. The money won't be necessary. After all, your Thorne family will be bankrupt soon. My tone shifted, becoming even colder. Right now, I only want to know one thing. Is there any other reason for this divorce besides the ones you've mentioned? Or, let me be more blunt, who is behind everything that happened tonight? I knew Leo. He was obsessed with his public image. He would never air his family's dirty laundry in such a public forum unless someone was pulling the strings. There was something strange going on. His expression confirmed my suspicions. His eyes darted away, unable to meet mine. Seeing this, Chloe quickly stepped in. You don't deserve to know her name, but I can tell you this. The person is from Los Angeles, a major figure you can never afford to offend. It wasn't until that moment that I realized Chloe was the one orchestrating all of this. No wonder she was always interjecting at critical moments. I felt a flicker of pity for Leo, who didn't even realize he was being used as a pawn. Faced with their repeated provocations, I had held back, trying to avoid a scene. These were, after all, some of the biggest names in the business world, and I didn't want to cause a major incident. But my restraint was only met with more ridicule. Enough, I said, my voice sweeping coldly across the room. I don't think there's any need for this business conference to continue. I'm giving all of you 2 choices. Either leave now and I can let this go, or stay and go bankrupt along with the Thorne family. My ultimatum was met with stunned silence, followed by roaring laughter from the surrounding executives. Boy, you don't look very old, but you have a big mouth. Threatening us? believe it or not, with a single word from us, there would be no place for you in all of America. I advise you to leave quietly, otherwise, no one will be able to save you. I fought back my rising anger and spoke slowly. I've always preferred to keep a low profile, but tonight I really feel like being high profile. I walked slowly toward the podium. Anyone who chooses to stay today, I, Alara, will take you all on. I looked at the defiant faces in the audience with a sense of disappointment. Is this what the business elite of America had become? A group of profit-seeking opportunists? Alara, get down from there. That's not a place for you, Chloe shouted from the crowd. I just smiled. It's almost over. Your task is complete. Hurry up and let the person behind you come out. What kind of power is it to always hide in the shadows and manipulate others? Don't they even have the courage to face me directly? The second I finished speaking, the doors to the venue swung open. A woman about my age walked in with an air of arrogant confidence. You must be Alara. I'm interested in your husband. Let's name a price. Miss Isabella, you're finally here. Chloe's exclamation drew everyone's attention to the richly dressed young woman from Los Angeles. So, you must be the mastermind behind tonight's summit, I said, looking her over. The woman raised her eyebrows lightly and walked slowly towards me. You guessed correctly. I organized this top-tier industry exchange. I almost laughed out loud. Isabella, this so-called top-tier chamber of commerce you're referring to? Surely you don't mean all this trash in the audience? In my opinion, your summit is nothing special. My words were a direct slap in the face to everyone present. This group of American businessmen valued their pride above all else. If it weren't for Isabella's presence, they would have torn me apart. Alara, I came here today with sincerity, and I hope you'll show me some respect, Isabella said, her voice tight. Her words left me completely bewildered. Isabella, are all of you from Los Angeles a bit slow? You walk in here and tell me you're going to steal my husband, and you expect me to respect you? Isabella's face flushed with anger at my retort. Alara, I wanted to discuss this with you civilly, but you provoke me again and again. Do you really think my family in Los Angeles would be afraid of the daughter-in-law of the Thorne family? I was genuinely amused by her words. I had dealt with plenty of rich second-generation kids from Los Angeles before coming to this city. Isabella, I honestly haven't heard of you. I was about to say more when Leo put his arm around Isabella's shoulders, right in front of me. Alara, I advise you to agree to the divorce without making a scene, so you don't embarrass yourself further. I looked up at the two of them, my fingers clasped together, my voice cold. Looking at you two, you must have been together for a long time. No wonder after all these years of marriage, Leo never wanted me to appear in public with him. It turns out he had someone else in his heart all along. As soon as I spoke, Leo's face changed. Nonsense! Isabella and I have known each other since we were children. We were always meant to be together. If my father hadn't forced me to marry you, I never would have. His words hit me like a physical blow. A childhood girlfriend? Why had his father never mentioned this? Had he lied to me all those years ago? I didn't know when they had gotten back together, but at this moment, Leo was still my husband. I couldn't swallow this insult. Leo, we are not divorced yet, and you're embracing another woman in front of me. Do you have any respect for me at all? I kept my eyes locked on him as I spoke, and he couldn't even meet my gaze. What cheating? You just think you're not getting enough money. Name your price. The Lotus family has money, Isabella said, looking at me as if I were a clown. Isabella, don't say I didn't warn you, I said calmly. If Leo dares to divorce me today, in less than half an hour, both your family and his will go bankrupt. Before she could respond, Leo stepped forward eagerly. Alara, stop trying to scare people. Who are you to claim we'll go bankrupt? Isabella could crush you with a flick of her finger. If I hadn't needed to understand the full situation, I would have slapped him right then and there. Leo's words drew a fresh round of laughter from the crowd. I knew it. A pretty face with no background and no money. Of course her husband would run off with someone else. Exactly. Look at what she's wearing. How did she even get into this summit? In terms of background and financial resources, Isabella, the sole heir to her family in Los Angeles, is 100 times better than her. The people around me continued to flatter Isabella, but no one spoke up for me. In their eyes, I was just a circus clown for their amusement. But I wasn't in a hurry. A good show needs to be watched slowly. I pulled out my phone in front of everyone and dialed Leo's father. "Hello, Mr. Thorne. I have a question for you. Your son has a girlfriend. Why didn't I know about it?" On the other end of the line, there was a stunned silence for a few seconds before he spoke cautiously. "Alara, listen to me. Let me explain. Leo, I cut him off impatiently. "I don't want to hear your explanations right now. You just need to tell me yes or no. Does he have a girlfriend?" My voice was sharp. "Alara, please calm down. It's not what you think. Leo was young and foolish back then, but I promise you, my son broke things off before he married you." His father's words felt like a punch to the gut. I had been a backup plan for all these years, stupidly helping the Thorne family grow and prosper. Anger surged within me. I yelled into the phone, "I'm giving you 20 minutes. If you don't get to this venue, I will make sure the Thorne family name is erased from history." After speaking, I hung up the phone, staring at the two people in front of me with rage-filled eyes. "Good. The great family from Los Angeles. I want to see what you can do to me today." As the words left my lips, I rolled up my sleeves and slapped Isabella across the face. This pampered young lady from Los Angeles had never been treated this way. She didn't even have time to react before she was on the ground. Everyone present stared, their jaws hanging open. Damn, this woman is crazy. She even dared to hit the daughter of that family. She's done for. If she had just divorced Leo quietly, it would have been fine. But to resort to violence? Anyone who dares to hurt that family, not even God can save her now. As the whispers grew louder, Leo realized what had happened. He quickly helped Isabella to her feet, then turned and stared at me viciously. "Alara, you dare to lay a hand on Isabella? Her family will not let you go." I waved my hand nonchalantly. "Leo, you have it backward. It's not a question of whether her family will let me go. It's a question of whether I will let all of you go." Just then, Isabella came to her senses. She rubbed her reddening cheek, then slowly raised her head, staring at me with murderous eyes. You dare to hit me? I want you dead today." She shouted behind her, and suddenly a group of men in black suits poured into the venue. "Get her! I want this woman dead today." With her order, the group rushed towards me. "Stop!" Just as they were less than a meter away, an urgent voice came from the doorway. Everyone turned to see a middle-aged man with a large belly running towards me, sweating profusely. "Isn't that the founder of the Thorne Group? What is he doing here?" Seeing his father, Leo's face turned pale. The older man ran up to me, out of breath, and bowed deeply. "Alara, are you all right? You weren't hurt, were you?" I glanced at my watch. It had been exactly 20 minutes. "Mr. Thorne, you're just in time. Your son's girlfriend is about to have her men attack me. How you handle this will determine the life or death of your family. The choice is yours." Mr. Thorne was a sharp man and reacted immediately. A loud smack echoed through the room as 5 bright red fingerprints appeared on Leo's face. "You idiot! Do you have any idea what you've done? Apologize to Alara right now." Leo was stunned by the slap and looked at his father in confusion. "Dad, are you senile? Why are you hitting me? It's obvious that Alara hit Isabella first. Why are you taking her side and punishing me?" Seeing this, the anger in my heart subsided a little, but it wasn't enough. The Thorne family still owed me an explanation. Mr. Thorne stared at his son with fury and slapped him again. "You still have the nerve to ask me why? If Alara hits someone, she naturally has her reasons. Even if the person she wanted to hit today was you, I would not have a single complaint." He looked back at me with a pleading smile before turning to the crowd. "Whoever dares to touch Alara today must step over my dead body." His father's words were powerful, but Leo's mind was in a mess. He couldn't understand why his father would go against a powerful family from Los Angeles for a woman he considered worthless. Unfortunately for him, only a few people knew the real reason. "Mr. Thorne, you don't know me?" Isabella said, stepping forward. "I'm Isabella. You used to visit my house when I was a child. Are you sure you'd rather offend my family to protect this nobody? Behind me is my entire family. If you offend me, I'm afraid our future business cooperation will be very difficult. The surrounding business tycoons nodded in agreement, but Mr. Thorne made a different choice. Perhaps to outsiders, it seemed like he was old and confused, unable to grasp the situation. But I knew he was making a last-ditch effort to save his family. I sat down in a chair with a good view and let him take the stage. He did not disappoint. In front of most of the American business community, he pointed at his son's nose and scolded him without any regard for his image. Leo, I order you, in your capacity as a thorn, to apologize to Alara. If you refuse, I will have to use family law to deal with you. With that, he raised his heavy cane and stood in front of me. Today, I, the head of the Thorne family, make this promise. If anyone dares to be disrespectful to Alara, it is a sign of disrespect to my entire family. His words were the final straw for Leo. On one side was Isabella's powerful family, and on the other was his own father. He couldn't afford to offend either. As he struggled, Isabella stepped forward. She walked slowly up to me, her eyes full of murderous intent. Alara, I order you to apologize to me now, or I will use all my power to make your life a living hell. I pursed my lips and smiled at her. Isabella, I think you're the one who should be apologizing. Seeing this, Isabella didn't waste any more words. She took out her phone and made a few calls. As the minutes passed, more and more luxury cars began to pull up outside the venue. A closer look revealed they all had one thing in common: license plates from the capital. Even the so-called business tycoons were impressed. My God, are there some really big names here today? Look at all those luxury cars. Forget the cars, the people in them are some of the most powerful figures in the country. This summit is truly amazing. It's even drawn the attention of people from Los Angeles. I ignored their comments. Mr. Thorne, who was standing in front of me, didn't say a word. He knew someone was about to have a very bad night, and it wasn't just one person. Powerful-looking people got out of the cars and walked straight into the ballroom. One of them, an older, middle-aged man, glanced at me and raised his eyebrows. You're the one who hit Isabella, aren't you? There was disdain and surprise in his tone, but it was mostly a challenge. That's right, that was me. The man didn't expect me to be so bold in front of so many wealthy and powerful people from Los Angeles. His face immediately darkened. Okay, good, you've got guts. He glanced at Mr. Thorne standing in front of me and snorted. Your confidence doesn't come from him, does it? The founder of the American Thorne Group, am I right? I was slightly surprised that he could identify Leo's father so quickly, but it didn't matter. Who he is doesn't matter to me. I have nothing to do with their family, and I don't want to. My statement served two purposes. First, to show them I didn't need to rely on the Thornes, and second, to tell the Thorne family that from now on, I was on my own. I was no longer their daughter-in-law. My indifferent attitude quickly angered the rich second-generation crowd. They were likely thinking, who is this little girl to act more arrogant than us? They were all eager to rush up and teach me a lesson. But I enjoyed toying with people like them. The angrier they got, the more I wanted to push their buttons. Hey, you were all called here by Isabella, right? With your dyed hair and earrings, you look like a bunch of wannabes. Men like you? I could take on 10 of you with one hand. Don't believe me? You can try. As I expected, my words were the final provocation. The pampered young men rushed towards me. I didn't even bother to dodge. A few quick slaps later, every one of them, except for the middle-aged man who had spoken to me earlier, had my handprint on their face. They hadn't even managed to touch my clothes. Who the hell are you? Where does your confidence come from? He asked, his face grim, his eyes fixed on me. But he didn't dare to move. I grabbed a wet tissue, wiped my hands, and spoke nonchalantly. Are you embarrassed? You're from Los Angeles and you don't even know who I am? I paused, a slight smile on my face. I am Princess Alara. As soon as the words left my mouth, someone in the crowd shouted, Look, what's that? Everyone turned to look. A Hongqi car with a black license plate from the Imperial City slowly drove up to the venue. The middle-aged man looked back at me in shock. You're actually from the Imperial City? Yank, I smiled and nodded slightly. Congratulations, you guessed correctly. My words suddenly changed, my eyes growing cold. As a reward for guessing right, you should know better than me what to do with these people, right? The middle-aged man subconsciously dropped to his knees, his forehead covered in cold sweat. Your Royal Highness, the princess. His words were like a bombshell, exploding through the entire room. No way, this little girl has such an incredible identity. Then why didn't she say so earlier? Yes, if I had an identity like that, I could do whatever I want in this country. Wait, did we just help Isabella insult her? Not only the business tycoons, but even the rich kids who had come to support Isabella were panicking. They were all on their phones, calling home for help. As for Isabella, the main person involved, she slumped to the ground, her mouth wide open in shock. Princess Alara, this is a misunderstanding. A smile remained on my face as I spoke. Oh? You think this is a misunderstanding, Isabella? You not only tried to steal my husband, but also tried to have me attacked. Which of those crimes can you afford? As soon as I finished, she was so scared she lost control of her bladder. Yes, it's a misunderstanding. It's definitely a misunderstanding. I don't know Leo Thorne at all. With that, she rushed over to Leo. Two sharp slaps echoed through the room. Before Leo could react, blood began to ooze from the corners of his mouth. He looked up in bewilderment. Isabella, why are you hitting me? Hearing him say her name, Isabella kicked him. Don't call my name, I don't know you. We just played in the mud together as kids. The moment the old man in the tunic suit walked in, everyone in the room except me was sweating. At this time, Chloe, the assistant who had been quiet for over an hour, knelt directly in front of me, yellow urine stains on the hem of her pants. Alara, I was wrong. I was blind. Please give me another chance. From now on, I'll be your dog. I'll bite whoever you ask me to bite. I pinched my nose and shook my head. Chloe, disappear from my sight while I'm still in a good mood. If I were to have you as a dog, I'd find you disgusting. As soon as I finished, Chloe scrambled away. Leo was the last to react to the situation. He burst into tears. Wife, I was wrong. I was just confused for a moment, but I still love you in my heart. Can we reconcile? Didn't you want a wedding? I'll have someone arrange it as soon as I get back. He begged me as he kowtowed violently on the floor. It's too late. It was too late from the moment you asked me to come to this summit. Leo, the person you loved was never me, nor was it Isabella. You love money and power, things that make you feel important. My words stabbed him like a knife, and he stopped talking. Yeah. Seeing this, Mr. Thorne still wanted to try and keep me, but I silenced him with a look. A man who has cheated is someone I, Ilara, can never look down on. After that night, the American business world was reshuffled. The executives who had mocked me alongside the Thorne family all stepped down from their positions en masse. One day, many years later, when I visited the U.S. again, there was no trace left of the Thorne family's legacy.